Well, I'm mainly an animation channel and will continue to be an animation channel. Another kind of outlet that I've found for my creative endeavors has actually been fiber arts, and I've been working on knitting primarily for the past maybe 4 years now. I had been making a lot of little plushies for myself and as gifts for other people, starting with here you can see my rabbit. I made a little mousey. I made this guy. This cursed cat creature, a practical polar bear, very many little good creatures, and they're a ton of fun, and they don't take a lot of yarn, which makes it more convenient than having to buy like 30 skeins of yarn. The knitters of the world also have their own social media site, which is called Ravelry. And using Ravelry, I'll occasionally go and I'll search to see if there are any kind of patterns that I would like to try. And this one caught my eye a few months ago because, one, it's a cat, and two, she's wearing a cute little dress. And I thought immediately when looking at this, I could turn this into one of my OCs. Some of you may know I work on a comic that is kind of in like a Beatrix Potter kitty world where they wear cute outfits and nothing bad happens ever. But anyway, I could totally see myself making a ton of the characters using this pattern as a base. And so this is the tale of how I made my OC into a plushie. In my kind of creative envisioning for this project, I took a screenshot of the picture from the pattern, and I ended up photoshopping what I imagined my final Abigail, who is the name of the character, how I would like to see her look. It's a little rough around the edges, but it gets the job done, and it does look very satisfying. I took away her tail, because as you'll see later in this video, Abigail has a bobtail, which means I would have to deviate from that pattern a little bit, but you'll see that when it comes to it. So after deciding the color swap, this pattern calls for these little blue plastic safety eyes. And Abigail does have blue eyes, but I also wanted to spend a lot of time picking exactly what eyes would look best on her. And so I filtered for the 10mm, 10.5mm eyes that I mostly used Etsy for. And I looked up and pasted my options on top of this little mock-up. The first option were these, which are kind of dragon-like. They're kind of like the color of Spyro the Dragon. Big fan. But they seemed a little too purple and a little too detailed for me. One thing that's very appealing to watch about lots of Etsy eye products is a lot of them get super detailed. They're hand painted. They're beautiful. But on a simple plush like this, I didn't want to get so drawn in by a detailed eye that when I put a hyper detailed eye on my plushie, I didn't want it to be too distracting. So this one too, this blue, kind of blue-gray one, she looks very haunted, and I don't know if they would have looked like that in real life when I got the package, but I found these two surprised me because they match almost exactly when I even color picked from the comic pages. These were an almost exact match, and they were very simple, so after about an hour or two of looking at eyes, I picked these and patiently awaited for them to be delivered. The first thing that I did was I pulled up the page of the comic that I was working on at the moment, which happened to be this page, and I color picked from my characters' colors, and I drew them out here. And I wanted to find a yarn color that would just about match the colors on my official reference. And then I spent about an hour or two looking at different yarns and comparing them back and forth. And I found that in the end, to be super sure, I opened up my drawing program and I actually color picked from the images and pasted them to see what they would look. And I'm really glad I did this because I almost went with this Rowan Kid Classic. And as you can see here, that would have turned out very dark. She's a little sunburnt. This is where I'm pretending that I'm unboxing it for the first time, but it comes in these 50-gram little little circles. I don't know if these are called skeins or cakes. I don't think they're cakes, but knitters have this language for exactly what each one looks like. So I checked them out. They were super satisfying. I was very pleased, and I was ready to begin knitting. And here we have a few recordings that I snapped over the production of the knitted plushie. This part is the very first cast on. I believe I'm working on either the leg or the arm here, probably the leg. And as you see, I slowly cast on with a very rudimentary technique. Knitters will tell me, oh, you're doing it wrong. It's the easiest for me. I'm essentially going from the bottom up, starting with the white paw, going and expanding the number of stitches. So for, say, if I increase, I start with 1 stitch and then I turn it on the next row up into 2 stitches. That makes it larger. It's very mathematical. At this stage, I'm using the double-pointed needles, and I really like double-pointed needles. They give you a lot of flexibility to create lots of different shaped projects. My knitting teacher told me, "Young sunbird, get over your fear of double-pointed needles. They will take you many great places." And so I devoted myself to learning how to use them. So here I'm switching to my second color, which is this Firestar Orange, or the Electric Orange. And it's just as simple as picking up the next ball of yarn and weaving it in, though changing colors can be more complicated at times. But I end up making a stripe pattern because Abigail's a tabby, and doing that just back and forth with the bright orange and the dark orange. And here you can see as I cut ahead to more of that stripy pattern, which, while it isn't necessarily realistic to a tabby cat pattern, it is the simplest to do, and it kind of has a nostalgic feel of that knitted toy or knitted sweater where it's just the alternating stripes. And here you see me finishing up that foot. And there I have my darning needle, which is essentially a thick, blunt needle with a hole in it that I use to close off the body part. There you can see the finished legs and arms, which I thought really looked like hot dogs. They were really fun for a while before I attached them to the body. Here's the body section of the body. Again, you can see that alternating stripe pattern. And these are only knitted on 2 needles because I end up going and adding the 3rd segment of the body, which is her white belly. And there you can see the white belly is attached, and I'm doing what's called a mattress stitch here, where I'm fusing those 2 pieces of knitted fabric together, the striped back part of the body and then the white tummy of the body. Going through, and then you just pull it, which is very satisfying to perform. And now I'm bringing out my Build-A-Bear box, where I store all of my stuffing. I've used in the past weighted beads to put some weights to some plushies, and they're okay. I lost my weighted beads at one point. I donated them when I moved. So though she's a plump cat, she's not very heavy. And there's the headless body of Abigail. No tail either. I think I didn't actually manage to get some recording of the tail, but I essentially went crazy. There's the head. I didn't get any footage of the head, but there is at the point where I get the embroidery thread and make her nose and her mouth. And here is the embroidery of the whiskers, which I think I actually redid after recording this, but I went through with an embroidery needle and kind of just poked her in the face. And right now she's got 4 whiskers. I think she ends up with 6. Are we gonna give her her fifth and sixth here? I think we're gonna give her her 5th and 6th. And her ears there, they ended up rounder than I'd like. It's kind of tough to keep them from curling and becoming more round. But say this is like a Abigail Bugbear AU where she's got bear ears. Bugbear is a great map. Go watch the Bugbear map right now. I got lots of friends in that map. Here's another section where I am unboxing the eyes, which arrived later than much of the rest of the project because I think I was waiting on them, or they took a while. But the vendor sent me a cute little card, and the eyes looked great. Here's working on the dress. I put the eyes on, and I figured, you know, that doesn't look all that great. So I went and, similarly to before, I went to my drawing program and did a little mock-up of how I would like them to be, of how I would like to alter her. So I ended up saying I want to make her nose smaller, and I want to raise those eyes up. And I liked the way that was looking in the editing program, so then I went and implemented those tweaks, and you can see some of them there as Abigail's traveling with me on the subway. Didn't get a lot of footage of the dress, but it ended up being very springy and cute. But here I am working on it because she has in her design long sleeves, and I'm a long sleeve fan. I don't like the summer when I have to wear short sleeves. It makes me feel sad. So I apologize you can't really see here, but I don't have any other footage. And here's the final reveal. Look at her. She's beautiful. She's got, I mean, she's not perfect, but she's perfect to me. Thank you for coming along on my journey where I showed you how to make, or not how to make, because you can't follow these instructions, my instructions suck, but I showed you the process of a little bit of how I made this beautiful plushie, and she is now sitting on my bed very cutely with the rest of my plushies, and 10 out of 10, I would do this again.